Wanted to go ahead and show this video. CNN highlighting a meeting that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren had back in December of 2018. And apparently Bernie told Elizabeth Warren that he didn't believe a woman could win. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Bad blood suddenly brewing between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. The two Democratic presidential hopefuls will face off in the CNN debate in Iowa tomorrow. Warren is blasting the Sanders campaign for reportedly giving volunteers a script to follow to denigrate her as a candidate, only appealing to the elite. But that may now be only part of the story between these two. Here with me now is CNN chief political analyst Gloria Borger and CNN political correspondent MJ Lee. And MJ, you have some new details about a meeting between these two, a long ago meeting before either of them joined the race. Tell us about this.
That's right. We have some new reporting on a private meeting that took place between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren in December of 2018. You can do the math on the timing of all of this. This would have been when both senators were both preparing to launch their 2020 campaigns. And the two met in Warren's Washington, D.C. apartment, and they discussed a couple of things. And here's what CNN learned. We learned that the two discussed the importance of staying civil and not going on the attack against one another if the two were to face off in the 2020 election. They thought that it was important to not undermine the progressive movement. We also have reporting that they discussed ways to beat Donald Trump, and that Warren told Bernie Sanders that two major reasons she thought that she would be a strong candidate was because she could mount a robust argument on the economy, and that she thought she could get broad support from female voters. Now, 4 sources tell CNN that Bernie Sanders responded to Elizabeth Warren by saying he does not believe that a woman can win. Now, we are also told that Sanders expressed some frustration about the role of identity politics for Democrats, and also that Elizabeth Warren disagreed with Sanders' assessment that a woman could not win. Now, the Warren campaign did not comment in response to this story, but Bernie Sanders has just sent this statement to CNN. I will read it in full. He says, "It is ludicrous to believe that at the same meeting where Elizabeth Warren told me she was going to run for president, I would tell her that a woman couldn't win. It's sad that 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus and a year after that private conversation, staff who weren't in the room are lying about what happened. What I did say that night was that Donald Trump is a sexist, a racist, and a liar who would weaponize whatever he could. Do I believe a woman can win in 2020? Of course. After all, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump by 3 million votes in 2016. So, Brianna, not only is Bernie Sanders aggressively pushing back, he is now accusing the Warren campaign of lying.
Well, it's interesting because the Warren campaign isn't commenting. Elizabeth Warren could say, no, that's not actually, the conversation hasn't happened. So that's really important to note that, Gloria. But I wonder, how do you think this plays? There's either he personally doesn't think a woman can win if you take this conversation at face value, or that American voters won't support a woman in his opinion. Doesn't matter which one.
Well, it's both are bad for him. I mean, you know, either way, if he said to her, you know, I don't think a woman can win, I don't think voters will support a woman, she is the woman left standing. And campaigns are about differences, and she's got that big difference. Now, I might point out that in terms of her support among women, she and Bernie Sanders, among Democratic women voters, she and Bernie Sanders are about the same. It's not as if she has overwhelming support among women, and neither did Hillary Clinton. And of course, you covered Hillary Clinton, so you remember that that was always a problem. This may be, you know, Elizabeth Warren, I'm sure, will be talking about this, and this may be one way she can shore up support with women voters who'll say, what are you kidding? Of course a woman can win, or of course a woman should be there.
What do you think, Gloria, about the timing of this and the fact that Elizabeth Warren is, I mean, she's letting this stand, right?
Sure.
She is letting this stand. If she thought that this was not how the conversation went, you would presume that she would say so. What do you think about the timing?
Look, I think this is a race, and she wants to win Iowa, and she's going the wrong way in the polls, right, MJ? I mean, you cover her more than anybody else.
Political momentum has stalled in recent months. That's absolutely right.
Exactly. So what she's trying to do is establish some differences with Bernie Sanders on many fronts. And, you know, she attacked him and his campaign for effectively calling her elite right? And so I think that's what campaigns are about, and I'm not surprised she's finding a way to do it. Are you?
I mean, two things really stood out to me from our new reporting. First of all, is sort of the gender politics that we're seeing in the 2020 election, as Gloria just talked about. But second, this sort of juggling act that we see between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren on sort of managing both their friendship and their political rivalry, right? It was clear even before this reporting that there has been some sort of a non-aggression pact between the two senators based on the fact that they have been friends for a long time, and they have said that out on the campaign trail, both of them publicly, and also the fact that they are largely aligned in sort of the progressive causes that they are fighting for. I do think that with this, and sort of over the last 72 hours out on the campaign trail, we are really seeing any kind of non-aggression pact that might have existed really fraying. And very fascinating that all of this is happening right on the eve of the CNN debate.
You know, in politics, there's no such thing as a non-aggression pact, and particularly when you're so close to the Iowa caucuses, and those top candidates are so bunched up. You have to figure out a way to differentiate yourself. Yeah. That's what she's doing.
Maybe it's an "I'll throw you off the lifeboat last" pact. We can leave it at that.
I want you to pay attention to the framing of that video. You can go back and play it again, but it's like these commentators there have already assumed that Bernie Sanders said a woman could not win. In the conversation, one of them says that if you take it at face value, then it's like they have already made the assumption Bernie Sanders definitely said that. And also the framing when they said, so Bernie Sanders is accusing the Warren campaign of lying. As if it's like this negative thing. Bernie Sanders is, not only did he say that, now he's accusing them of lying, instead of saying, for example, the Warren group is accusing Bernie of lying. Like just the way that they frame it. They mentioned 4 sources. Was Elizabeth Warren one of those sources? How hard would it be for one of her campaign staffers to grossly exaggerate something that they heard, spread it to some other staffers, and then those staffers all go and report that, and it never came from the source herself? Bernie Sanders has given us every reason to believe in his honesty. He was fighting for positions for 3 to 4 decades that were not popular. The idea that he's an opportunist and that he will say whatever he can in order to increase his political position, that just doesn't line up with history. That doesn't line up with reality. And also the point of Elizabeth Warren saying that she will get a lot of female support. Even one of the commentators said like their support is actually pretty equal among female candidates. So this begs the question, are things going to get worse between Bernie and Warren? Is it going to get nasty? There's the debate tomorrow night. We'll see as the primaries continue to narrow down. We're going to see how it ends up between those two. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like the video, and join us again for more history and politics. Thanks for watching.